we got seeds. I bought seeds online. I started them off, and something happened, and I lost a whole bunch of seeds, seedlings, and basically I killed them. And so out of the 10, these are the 2 seeds that actually turned out. And I started them off inside, I planted them, and then they got a little bigger to that. And today I planted cannabis, and as you can see, they're doing really well. Like their leaves are going up toward the sun. It's called praying. The leaves are praying. They're trying to get as much sun as possible. They're going to end up being about this high and about this round. So it's going to look like a bush by the time we're done. These are cannabis plants. A lot of places they're illegal. Here, if you have a medical marijuana license, which I do, they're not illegal. And these actually really help my neuropathy. I was poisoned by antibiotics, and this isn't the main protocol I use, but it's also an additional thing. I have this neuropathy that's just horrendous. And so cannabis really makes a difference. This particular strain is called Kimbo Kush. It's a Hawaiian strain. And I bought the seeds online, and you know, for those of you who are challenged with, you know, like, oh, cannabis, it's mind altering, it's psychoactive, just understand that in the scripture, cannabis is in scripture, in the temple. They used it in the temple. Okay, how do we know this? Well, go ahead, do a search, look for something, a herb called CaNaBoSeM, CaNaBoSum, or BoSom, CaNaBoSeM. That is cannabis. That is the cannabis. And if you doubt that, then go out, do a search, and you'll find that they found ancient altars in Israel where cannabis was used. This wasn't a temple, these were altars. And so cannabis was used at the time in Canaan. And so so for those of you who are challenged, who go, this is unscriptural, it's not unscriptural. It is so scriptural that you just have to drill down to what the real Hebrew words say and what they mean. So in this case, we're growing these. These are going to be these aren't going to flower. We're not going to actually pull cannabis off these particular plants. These are going to be called mother plants. So what we're going to pull off, we're going to pull those off, and we're going to plant those separately, and those will grow, and those will have the fruit that come off of them. We can't grow seeds off of these. These aren't able to grow seeds, but we can. What do you call that? Sprout? I forget.
I forget what the word was, but they're the daughters anyway.
They're the daughters. Yeah, they're the daughters, and we're going to be able to have as many daughters as we want. But these are the start of what we hope to be a pretty nice way to get my cannabis needs met. And I don't need a whole lot. I don't like the feeling of being, you know, not in control. But I do like when the edge gets taken off. So I don't use it a lot. I'm not going to create a whole forest of this. It's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is that I don't have to spend money at a cannabis, you know, dispensary,
pharmacy, yeah,
you know, to be able to get the next you know, installment. And that's really, really helpful, because in the medical cannabis, it's outrageously expensive. Like for an eighth of an ounce, it can be as much as $60. Okay, so this really makes a difference in terms of a monthly bill or things like that. And it's you know, it's growing good here, but you got to take care of it. You got to put nutrients in the soil, all that kind of stuff. And we're not at that point yet. We're using just really rich soil for this right now, but eventually we're going to be, you know, spiking it with other nutrients.
So Rick, what do you know that cannabis is good for, that it treats?
Well, I'll tell you, like, and I mean this in a sincere way. If you're worried, like with the turmoil that's going on today, you know, with the riots and the looting, you're seeing the media, and it's getting you amped up. Cannabis will make a difference. You don't need a heavy, you know, what they call couch lock, where you sit on the couch and you can't get up for 3 hours. and they have cannabis like that, and people use it. People who have Parkinson's, they use it for that kind of stuff. So it is a psychoactive drug. The other thing is, and I can't use it because you have to test these different strains. Like, there are two different versions of cannabis. There is the sativa and there's the indica. The indica is the very heavy. The sativa is the very light. So the sativa makes you happier, supposedly. It doesn't make me happier. It fires up my nerves and makes me in pain. But for some people, it just puts them in a really, really good mood. And if you're struggling with that, if you're struggling with, depression, or you're just struggling, I would take cannabis any day of the week over Zoloft and Paxil and Wellbutrin and any of those other SSRI drugs. I'll tell you why. Because those drugs shut down your ability for you to generate serotonin on your own. In other words, you can't be happy without them. That's a problem to me. That is a big problem to me, because there are situations right now, like Zoloft right now. It's hard to get Zoloft. Okay, if you're on Zoloft right now, you have a problem. Okay, I'm dating this video, but right now we're coming out of this coronavirus lockdown, and everybody wants their Zoloft. Okay, that you don't get your Zoloft, you're going to go into withdrawal. What happens in withdrawal is really, really interesting, because when you don't get that serotonin from these drugs, your body forgot how to make the serotonin on its own. It forgot how to make the dopamine on its own. It forgot all that stuff, okay? Because your body's getting it from someplace else, and it moderates or modulates the serotonin, the hormones in your body. When you don't get it and your body's not making it, you are going to go in a depression like you wouldn't believe. It's going to be painful until your body starts to kick in and starts making it on its own again. And it may not make enough. Like, you may have one of those situations where your body just doesn't make enough serotonin or dopamine or epinephrine, all those feel good hormones. Your body can't make it, and that's going to be a problem. Cannabis can make a difference in that context. It can make a big difference in that context. And I'm not a doctor. If I sound like a doctor, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to say I'm a doctor. I've spent 10 years researching every little bit to take myself out of pain, and I've collected this whole body of work that says, here's how to change your mindset using natural herbs like cannabis. There's another one that's called wild lettuce. Now, we're not growing wild lettuce, but it is supposedly it's for natural source of morphine. Think that would be useful in times of survival? You bet. And so I'm sure it's going to be on my to-do list to get seeds and grow those seeds and have those things available. But for right now, if I don't have to spend $50, $100 at the dispensary, it's a good day at the office. That's $1,200 a year. I can put that into a lot of other different projects.
Okay, so other than anxiety and depression, I assume it's good for pain.
It is good for pain. It takes you out of pain. Like I said, it takes me out of pain, my neuropathy pain. Some people who have arthritic pain, some people who have the fibromyalgia type of pain, that makes a tremendous difference. You feel better, you feel lighter, your joints move better, your muscles don't ache. There are literally hundreds of different strains. You can go out to websites, what's Leafly, leafly.com, Leafly, leafly.com. You can see all the strains and see what they're good for, and see what some you experience euphoria, some you experience calmness, some people, it reduces anxiety. So all these these psychology, I don't know what the word is, psychotropic issues that people have, cannabis makes a difference. You have to test. It's going to cost you some money to test. In other words, when I used to go to the pharmacy, I've only been smoking cannabis for like 2 years. This isn't like something I've done all my life. I found out, a friend said, try this. I tried it, and I went, whoa, this makes a difference. This is a keeper. and this is part of my protocol. So I don't use it all the time, but when I do use it, like if I'm working out in the field all day and I'm using my hands and stuff, they have this neuropathic pain, and I take some of this, it takes the edge off. So again, you know, you got to test, you got to try for yourself. Do not take my words as like golden, but it is an avenue that you can explore on your own to see whether certain strains work. And one more little tidbit of information: if the first time you do it doesn't work or you don't get the result, don't give up. Don't give up. There are strains out there that can affect you in different ways, and it requires you to do a little bit of research, a little bit of investigation into what strains. And the other thing that happens is, and this is why I got these, is because this particular strain is called Kimbo Kush. You can look this up online. It's really good for my pain, but they don't always have it at the dispensary because these are seasonal things. They come in and out of season, and so I thought, well, I'd like to have this all the time. So I went online and I purchased the seeds and I grew them up, and I, you know, like I said, I got 2 left out of 10. But the point is that once you find one, go ahead and you know, invest. Go find some seeds. Go grow them. They're not that hard to grow. They're not that hard to grow. Maybe in future videos, when I get a new set of seeds or something, I'll go through some videos. But right now, these were just grown in these little containers with some real nice rich soil. And I don't remember what happened with these. I think maybe bugs got into them. Bugs love this stuff, so you got to really be sensitive about that. And just try it. Just get started. The other thing that I found it really interesting is in Hawaii, you cannot have a medical marijuana license and a gun license at the same time, which I find really interesting, because they're making some sort of an evaluation that says if a person has a medical marijuana license and wants to own a gun, they can't. So part of the reason that I'm getting this, and I don't mind sharing, is because I don't want to have a medical marijuana license in the future. I want to be able to own a gun. That's part of the process. So, you know, someday, and it won't be this year, but maybe next year, I'll be able to have cannabis. I won't need a medical marijuana license, and I'll be able to have a gun for self-defense. I think that's a pretty good day at the office as well. So,
Right, and it doesn't have to be smoked. It can be chewed, eaten, baked into something,
yeah,
made into a butter, made into an oil.
there's a lot of people that do the edibles. They put them in brownies. They you know,
Popcorn.
there is so much variety out there. People are so creative when it comes to cannabis. I'm not that creative. I just want to grow it, and once I grow it, it'll, you know, I'll be fulfilled. But some people, they want vapes. They have these nails and things that they have this thing really interesting. So I'm sure you've heard of this thing called a bong. I don't do bongs, but people do. They have this bong. It cools it with water, but they have this thing called a recycler, where it actually cools down the smoke, so it's not harsh on your throat. It's not harsh on your lungs. It cools it down with liquid nitrogen. That's how creative these people are at making the consumption of it viable for people. I don't need that kind of thing. I don't take it that much to make a difference. But some people, they just want couch lock, and you know, they want to just, you know, have enough to, you know, smoke up their room. That's not me. That's not me. But if it's you, then great. Yeah, go for it. I just wanted to get on video and say, if you're a believer and you're struggling with pain, you're struggling with, you know, some sort of mental health challenges, I wanted you to know that there is a natural way to address this. You don't have to rely on a pharmacy. You don't have to rely on a pharmacy. And I think that self-reliance, or that self-independence, if you started to grow your own, you know, it's a wonderful feeling to know that you can grow your own medicine.